Watch my ugly mug right now on YouTube, and you can download the Clubhouse app. So we're everywhere. We're in iTunes, Apple, we're Spotify, we're YouTube, we're Clubhouse, and we are on our flagship station, WOR. So we're talking today about Conduit Rules, sometimes called rollover IRAs, typically contained only money rolled over from a company plan and subsequent earnings on those dollars. So do you have a 401k with an old employer? You may want to consider rolling it over to an IRA so that you have freedom of choice in your investments. But a 2001 tax law called the Economic Growth and Tax Reconciliation Act of 2001 opened the door for all sorts of rollovers and something called plan portability. So for the most part, a person could commingle IRA contributions and rollovers from plans in the same IRA. The result was that beginning in 2002, conduit IRAs were no longer necessary for people rolling over plan funds. But conduit IRAs were still necessary for anyone looking to preserve the extremely rare tax break called 10-year averaging. But essentially, conduit IRAs have become superfluous. People continue to think that a conduit IRA will somehow allow them to dance around certain tax rules or save them when it comes to bankruptcy. I'm going to give you a handful of reasons why a conduit IRA is nothing more than an extra statement in the mail, and a couple of reasons why a conduit IRA could still provide some value. So when do you roll things over? When do you not? There's no blind answer. That's why we are going to give you, if you're in the market for shopping rollover IRAs, we're going to give you the 4 reasons to do a rollover IRA and the 4 reasons you might not want to do a rollover IRA conversation. It's a 45-minute, 7 ways to save on taxes review. It's 888-988-JOSH. Get you the review. Also, what's the beautiful thing about my radio show is we live stream on YouTube, Clubhouse. You get to ask me anything you want, any financial question. It could be on annuities, could be on cryptocurrencies. It could be on ways to get out of debt. Call me right now, 800-321-0710, and you'll be live right here on New York Radio. Also, the nice thing we're going to do today is a lot of you are wondering, what do I do with my money in these uncertain times that does not have risk? Talked to a beautiful couple yesterday. They drove all the way from New York City to see me, with Brooklyn, and it was nice. And they said, Josh, I'm going to be able to sleep well for the first time in months because I won't have to be worried so much about my money. Maybe that's you. Give us a call, 888-988-JOSH. I'd love to meet with you. Shake your hand, and yes, you can meet with me. Come to my corporate headquarters in beautiful Toms River, New Jersey. We're also in Hackensack this week. We have offices in Long Island, New York City, North Jersey, South Jersey, Pennsylvania. Wherever you are, we can see you all over the country. We have clients all over. So if you're worried about your money, don't worry, be happy. So I'm going to give you 4 ways to get out of debt, and I'm going to give you 3 things to consider if all of this market volatility has got you down. So first off, the 4 ways to get out of debt. Number 1, cut it out. Cut all of the subscriptions out. Disney, Hulu. I mean, how many times are you going to watch the lamest Star Wars? That new Star Wars movie is lame. I got to admit, I didn't like the first episode. I got into it. Maybe it's because I'm a Star Wars kid. But to be honest, it wasn't that good, the first episode. But episodes 2 through 6 were pretty good. Darth Vader returned. Anybody see that? Would like to comment? Call us 800-321-0710. That's 800-321-0710. If you have questions on stocks, bonds, annuities, mutual funds, whatever question you ask, no question is a dumb one. So 4 ways to get out of debt. Number 1, cut any non-essential subscriptions out of your life. So let's put Jim on the spot. Jim, do you have any non-essential subscriptions in your life?
No.
Good. You know what? That's recipe rule number 1 for success. Second rule for financial success. This is on getting out of debt. Lottery. Jim, do you have a hidden lottery habit you're not telling people about?
No.
Okay. Tip number 2. So Jim's doing good. 2 for 2. Ben, do you have any? Ben's a youngin'. Ben, do you have any stupid subscriptions that you're paying for?
I don't know. I may not have checked, but I might be paying for a car wash subscription that I'm not using.
Yeah, well, that's a scam. Makes the car guy rich. You know what? I should have gotten into that years ago. I thought it was a good idea. Now it's kind of, I think, overdone. But car wash subscription business, great deal. But car wash subscription, bad deal. I wash my car, I don't know, once every 6 months. So we'll see. I have a nice car, but anyway, you know, I'm not that vain, I guess. I don't care about people judging me for my car. So what about you? So cut out all non-essential subscriptions. Number 2 tip, avoid the lottery. I saw a dear friend posting like a pathetic sheep. His you know, I love this guy. So he'll know who he is. His lottery tickets, 4 lottery tickets. What if you save that every day in the market? What if you save that every day in a dividend-paying stock? So tip number 1, avoid subscriptions. Tip number 2, I still realize, you know, one time the reason when I realized subscriptions were bad was, you know, I was a teenager a while ago, but in my 20s, I still had pimples and I used Proactive. I think I had that subscription for like 10 years before I canceled it. Probably after I had zits. So we're still giving, but I save everything. So I saved all of that face wash stuff, and my daughter uses it. Now, before you say, hey, you know, you're so cheap, what if it's bad? No, I mean, it's benzoyl peroxide or whatever they put in the stuff, hydrogen. I don't think it goes bad. So I don't know. You might doubt. Her skin looks beautiful ever since she started trying it. Actually, it's funny. She used one of those organic things. The organic stuff didn't work as well as the Proactive. But anyway, avoid the auto pay. You know, it's funny. We talk about subscriptions. So I'm guilty, folks. I'm not saying, you know, those Honest diapers. You ever see those commercials for Honest diapers? Because of Jessica Alba. You know what? That should tell you right there. If they're using a beautiful woman to lure you to buy a diaper subscription, cut it out. Get it out of your life. Get rid of it. So, subscriptions. So Moses is now 4, going on 5. We started the subscriptions then. So we still have the same size diaper as when we started being sent to our house. Now, we have had multiple children since then. We've had a few more. So they've used the subscription, but we keep getting size 3 diapers. So Billy's outgrown them. So we either have to find a way to give those away. Allied does a great diaper donation thing. Allied in Long Island. Dear foundation, near and dear to my heart, the Allied Foundation. So if you have used diapers, look up the Allied Foundation. Give them the diapers and tell them that the financial quarterback sent you. So number 1, cut out the subscriptions. Number 2, get rid of the lottery. and you take those money and you pay a subscription to yourself. So pay yourself. So if you have not saved anything for yourself, take $100 a day and save yourself. Save for yourself. I always tell people, if you're just starting out, do the 80-10-10 rule. 80% for your living expenses, 10 for your giving, and 10 for your savings. If you can't live on 80% of your money, you will probably never amount to a financial success. You know, that's very helpful, right? But it's true. You got to start saving somewhere. So if you make $15 an hour, save $1.50 every hour. Plow that into the market in a Roth, and that'll be a great way to build your nest egg. So we got a ton of people who have some chats. We have Jay. You can come on up if you have a question. That'd be great. Or comment. Jay, go ahead. You're on with Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback. And folks, if you want to get in live, call me right now at 800-321-0710. We're talking IRAs, debt relief, and what to do with your money as the market is plunging. Go ahead, Jay. Jay.
Oh, hey. Yeah. I'm in Australia, so it's a bit different. Some things are different here, but I want to see, like, what do you think about crypto, Bitcoin and Ethereum and all those lovely ones? Like, what do you think? Because I feel like I just don't know enough about them to put most of my money into them.
The majority of cryptocurrencies will go down as one of the biggest scams in human history, rivaling the tulip craze in Holland. So now Bitcoin, I understand the utility, I see the value, and I think one will rule them all. But personally, I'd avoid all of them. And as a diversification play, to have a certain percentage of your asset classes in Bitcoin may prove valuable. Any questions to follow up on that?
Not really. Like, I think I feel a similar way. So yeah, thank you.
Now, you also had a tip on index ETFs or whatever?
I really like index funds. The more I've learned about them, the more I like them. I love diversification. I feel like if there's one thing I can actually win at, it's diversification. That is one thing I think I can consistently do with my portfolio. So I'm a really big fan of index ETFs and funds. Yep.
Yeah, we use index ETFs all the time in a diversified manner with our strategic asset allocation program. We have a fee-based fiduciary program where we use index-based ETFs. We weigh them in different asset classes, so it can certainly be a valuable tool. In fact, with our fee-based fiduciary firm, Wealth Quarterback, we have 3 unique programs: our strategic ETF program, our tactical ETF, for those of you worried about the political uncertainty of the moment, and the third is our dividend-paying stock strategy for those who want sort of a basket of stocks, typically no less than 20, most times 30 or more, that are companies that we believe have a high prospect for advancing. So if you're interested in that, call us at 888-988-JOSH. We're going to take our first break of the hour, and when we return, we'll be back with more of your questions at 800-321-0710. This is Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback. Don't touch that dial.
Tune in to the financial quarterback Josh Jelinski this weekend and learn how to protect your financial future in a down economy. Josh and his team at the Jelinski Advisory Group can help you lower your taxes and lower your risk in these uncertain times.
Minute and a half.
With a 27-point checklist designed to improve your financial health. Whether you're worried about runaway prices, fear of an upcoming recession, or a stock market meltdown, tune in to the financial quarterback and count on Josh Jelinski to call the play. For a free copy of Josh's book, The Retirement Reality Check, Call 888-988-5674. That's 888-988-5674. Or visit Jelinsky.org. That's JALINSKI.org. Jelinsky Advisory Group.
1 minute.
Quarterback does not offer tax or legal advice. Interested parties are strongly encouraged to seek advice from qualified tax and or legal experts regarding the best options for your particular circumstances. Past performance does not guarantee future results.
Tune in to the financial quarterback Josh Jelinsky of the Jelinsky Advisory Group this weekend and learn how to protect your financial future during these turbulent times. Looking to lower your taxes or need help securing your financial future? Then Josh and his team are the people for you. They're experts in financial economics with one mission in mind, to protect you and your investments. From their 27-point checklist to their one-of-a-kind financial quarterback approach, they help you achieve financial health and guide you through the hard times of high inflation, looming recessions, and stock market meltdown. For financial security, call them now, 888-988-5674, and get your free copy of Josh's book, The Retirement Reality Check. Jelinsky Advisory Group and Wealth Quarterback does not offer tax or legal advice. Interested parties are strongly encouraged to seek advice from qualified tax and or legal experts regarding the best options for your particular circumstances. Past performance does not guarantee future results.
Okay, we're back. This is Josh Jelinsky, the financial quarterback. We're taking your calls at 800-321-0710. So the theme of today's show, we're going to get to all those great things Jim talked about, like conduit IRAs. Are they necessary or not? And some of the valuable benefits of a 401k. A lot of scammers online telling people that 401ks are not great. You know what's a great thing about a 401k, Jim? Bankruptcy protection and ERISA plans. So you can have like 10 million bucks in a 401k, go bankrupt, and you don't owe your creditors anything. What asset does that? It's pretty cool. Like most 401ks, they maintain unlimited bankruptcy protection. What if you're a, what do you call it? What if you're a doctor? Malpractice insurance, right? Costs a lot of money. All the money in your 401k, creditor protected. Conduit IRAs also have creditor protection. If you have $10 million in your 401k and file for bankruptcy, those plan assets are unavailable to creditors. Before you say, oh, that's a scam. No, it's not. It's actually designed to protect the business owner so they could take business risk. If you were to roll over those plans to otherwise, wealthy people would never have a reason to start a business. Hey, I have 10 million. I have more than enough. I'm just going to sit back and drink pina coladas on the beach. I love the beach. I haven't gone to the beach this year. Have you gone to the beach this year, Jim?
No.
Are you a beach person? We'll go to the beach. Enjoy yourself. Go tomorrow. Anyway, problem is, got a pool. I'd rather just stay at home now. Maybe it's because of the 7 kids. So if you were to roll over those plans to dollars in an IRA, the 10 million would not always get unlimited bankruptcy protection, but on the conduit IRA, it could. An IRA, on the other hand, that is only an inflation-adjusted cap of $1.512 million. So one of the benefits of conduit IRAs is bankruptcy protection that is uncapped. 401ks, uncapped. IRAs, capped. Anything over the cap could become available to your creditors. Now, before you say, well, I'll never declare bankruptcy, a lot of good people or good business owners have, due to debts becoming too great, things like that. So should you keep your 10 million rolled over from your 401k in a separate IRA, away from your contributory IRA dollars? Not necessary. Commingling is allowed and will not impact the unlimited bankruptcy protection you still have on the former plan dollars. I do like to keep it separate, though, if you do, but this is saying you don't have to. Those former plan dollars remain fully protected, and the 1.512 cap is still fully available for your contributory IRA dollars. Now, what about the backdoor Roth strategy. We'll talk about that. But first, cut it out. So we're talking about 4 ways to save money. Number 1, avoid unnecessary subscriptions. Number 2, avoid the lottery. Number 3, seek to live on 50% of your pay. So if you still have debt, you need to learn to live on 50% of your pay. Now, let's say you don't make enough income. Ask your boss for extra hours. Do whatever you can. Get a second job. Avoid credit card debt like the plague. So now we're going to talk about the backdoor Roth strategy. That's where you make non-deductible contributions to an IRA and then convert those dollars from a tax-free to a Roth IRA. I just helped a couple about a week ago. They made too much money to do a Roth, so they did an after-tax contribution to an IRA. Then they rolled that money, they converted, did a Roth conversion. Now they have Roth money that they never thought they could have because they called me, the financial quarterback, at 888-988-JOSH for the 7 ways to save taxes review. Now, the pro rata rule may apply, but if you have any IRA or SEP or simple dollars with tax-deferred pre-tax dollars, you cannot cherry pick the after-tax dollars and only convert those. A separate IRA, possibly a conduit IRA, where you rolled over your after-tax dollars from a 401k will not help. Segregating the after-tax from the pre-tax in a different IRA has no bearing on the pro rata rule, so you might as well commingle. So 2 reasons to commingle IRAs is it has no bearing on the pro rata rule, has no bearing on the bankruptcy protection. This from IRAhelp.com. Now, occasionally, you might leave a job and you roll over your former plan dollars to an IRA and then want to roll over those former plan dollars to a new plan at the job. I generally do not advise that. Why? You have limited options in a typical 401k menu. In fact, if you're sick of your 401k options, a lot of you only have like 10 funds available in your 401k. If you don't like that, contact your HR department. Tell them the financial quarterback told you should have like 50 different options, a lot of index funds, things like that, different asset classes, meaning you should have some large cap, some small cap, and for you car lovers out there, you should even have hubcaps. So call us at 888-988-JOSH if you want us to speak to your HR department about the lame amount of choices in your 401k. Commingling is perfectly acceptable under the tax code for reverse rollovers. That's when you take IRAs and move them back to a 401k. The only reason to do that is if the fees are so low and you want bankruptcy or creditor protection. Now, a specific plan document could have some strange language that dictates that it will only accept former plan dollars via a reverse rollover. In such a case, a conduit IRA would be necessary, but it's rare. Additionally, a conduit IRA could help from an administrative standpoint, so an IRA owner can keep accounts straight. Regardless, before opening that conduit IRA, ask yourself, is it really necessary? So we'll be talking more of your questions. So if you have a question, drop it in the chat box on YouTube. Go to YouTube, Josh Jelinsky, the financial quarterback, and you get to ask me any financial question you have. We need Ben to monitor the chat box on YouTube. The YouTube people have said, hey, we're lacking love. So hit the subscribe button and you'll get more love. Also, even if you're not a big YouTuber, go to Josh Jelinsky, the financial quarterback, and hit the subscribe button. Also, we're doing Facebook Reels, we're doing TikToks, we're doing Instagram. Ben is doing a great job on the TikToks. Apparently, we need a 20-something to do TikToks. There is generational differences, right? I mean, you Apparently TikTok is making the world dumber, but it's fun. So give us a call, 888-988-JOSH for the free review. It's a 45-minute, 7 ways to save taxes right now in your portfolio review. We'll go over Roths. We'll go over rollovers. We'll go over conduit IRAs. We'll go over QCDs. Maybe you haven't even heard of this stuff. Give us a call now, 888-988-JOSH for the review. We'll take our next break right now. This is Josh Jelinsky, the financial quarterback. Don't touch that dial.
Maybe it seems like prices can't get much higher, or that the stock market is headed for bear territory. Or maybe
Short break, 30 seconds back, 30.
Josh Jelinsky, the financial quarterback, can help you protect your family's financial future in times like these. Tune in this weekend to the financial quarterback to hear how Josh and his team can help you decrease your tax liability and lower your risk. Call 888-988-5674 to take advantage of Josh's 27-point plan to achieve financial health. And when you call, you'll receive a free copy of Josh's book, Retirement Reality Check. Tune in every weekend to the Financial Quarterback and call 888-988-5674 to receive your free copy of Retirement Reality Check.
This is Josh Jelinsky, the financial quarterback. If you have a question, now is the time to chime in. We'll bring you up. Get to ask us any question you want on stocks, bonds, annuities, mutual funds. Occasionally, if you're listening, watching via YouTube, you'll see me like bend over. Now, Jim should be then clipping to the financial quarterback taking your questions. But the reason I'm bending over is I'm looking at the questions on Clubhouse. So you get to ask me anything. If you're listening live via WOR, we want to hear from you. Give us a call, 800-321-0710. You know what's nice about my show? Unlike a majority, a lot of you listeners, a lot of things are changing in the world of finance. I talked to somebody last week. They told me their financial advisor is going institutional and leaving them an orphan. Well, little orphan Annie, there's a home for you. It's called Wealth Quarterback. We're a fee-based fiduciary firm, and we will love to talk with you for free for the What Do I Do If I'm an Orphan review. How do you know if you're an orphan, Jim? Do you know? You might be assigned to an agent in Sandy, Utah. You might be assigned to an agent and they're not given a name, but it's like House Center. A lot of big firms are doing this. And you know what that means? You could be paying a fee and not even really having an advisor. Sure, you might have some nice chap who's 22, still popping pimples at the call center at your favorite, free index fund company. But don't you want some experience? Give us a call, 888-988-JOSH if you're an orphan. If anybody wants to comment on being an orphan, call us at 888-988-JOSH. And if you're an existing client, we always love to reconnect with existing clients. Some of my dearest listeners, the reason I do this show with fresh content each week is for our dear clients, like Steve and Judy, who I know listen every week, and so many of you, Fran and June, and there's hundreds of you who listen every week or every other week or as often as you can. Or Rich and Emily, there's just so many people. George and Grace, there's just hundreds of you. And I know you listen every week. And I would even say last names, but I don't want to say that. So we protect privacy of our listeners. So, and Anthony, so many of you call, and we love when our listener friends are also our clients. So call us 800-321-0710. We are live, unscripted, uncensored. So we're taking your calls now at 800-321-0710. Maybe I should do a cans show. Also, a lot shifting in the world of finance. Many of you listened to people. They're off the air right now. I'm the last man standing. Why? You know, a lot of personal finance stars are hitting 70 right now. So they're retiring. They're sipping their pina coladas, not me. Well, I enjoy a non-alcoholic pina colada on the beach. I could go for one of those. However, we're still working hard at the Financial Quarterback, right, Jim? We don't stop.
That's right.
We have an experienced team here for you. Decades of experience, probably centuries if you counted up all of the people that are with us. So call us now. We have CFAs, CFPs, CPAs. We have a couple guys. They have, I think, 2 or 3 of those themselves. So we would love to talk to you. If you have any financial question right now at 800-321-0710, or if you're in Clubhouse, come up, raise your hand. We'll bring you up on stage. You get to ask any and every financial question you have. So we're talking about cutting it out, how to cut things out of your budget you don't need. We're also talking about ways to save money in these uncertain times. So I'm going to give you 3 things you can do right now if you're worried about the market. A lot of you are looking into annuities. Stop. Do not do an annuity search until you call us. We have a free annuity shopping service where we will shop every annuity in the country to see if it's right for you. So do you know there are annuities now that have no internal fees? That's right, 0 internal fees. Some have 0 surrender charges. So there's a lot of very interesting annuities out there. And to be frank, on the 0 surrender charge annuities, there's only 1 or 2 that I know of in the country that do it. They're for a fiduciary platform. So essentially, let's say you have an old annuity that you did in the 90s, and if you cashed out, there would be a heavy tax consequence. But let's say you don't like that annuity. We met with somebody last month who brought over an annuity that they purchased in the 90s. They were paying 2.8% in hidden fees, 2.8% on $1 million, 28 grand a year. We were able to put that into an annuity with 0 surrender charges, 0 mortality and expense charges. They just charge a subscription fee of $20 a month. So that's a very cheap annuity. And then if you add a fiduciary fee and you use a fiduciary, it might be about 1%. So you're going from 2.8% in fees to like 1%. It's a significant savings of about $18,000 a year in your pocket, not the annuity company's pocket. So there can be low fees. And then there are 0 internal fee annuities. Generally, those have surrender charges, which means you have to put your money in there for a 5-year commitment. That's how the insurance company makes money. And if you take out more than 10% a year, they hit you with a surrender charge. But if you abide by the terms of the contract, some will have principal protection. So if the market goes down any further from here, your principal is protected. So there are 3 things you can do right now if you want principal protection and some opportunity. So if you want principal protection and opportunity on the money, you could look at treasuries right now. You could look at fixed or fixed indexed annuities right now. You could look at indexed universal life right now. And you could look at whole life from a dividend-paying mutual insurer. So those are 4 ways where if all of this volatility has gotten you sick to your stomach, maybe you diversify out of some principal risk things into some things that have principal protection. I want to caution you, market may rebound and you may be selling at a low point. But here's the thing, you may be owning duds in your portfolio. Here's the thing, do you own a dud in your portfolio? Well, Ben has a sneaker addiction. So Ben is, how many sneakers do you have, Ben?
Maybe 5 of the classics, Air Forces, Jordans.
5? Only 5? I heard you had like 100 from my kids at Anyway, so Ben does a great job volunteering for our youth at church. And it's amazing what kids think of their older friends. So you have 5 Air Jordan Classics. Now you also have Yeezys. You have more than 5. Come on, Ben. Ben's lying now. Anyway, so Ben has a lot of sneakers. We'll say he has 100. So think of the sneakers as like stocks. You know, maybe you want a pair of Yeezys. Maybe you want a Berkshire Hathaway stock for long-term growth because you like Warren Buffett. But maybe you think Warren Buffett's pushing 90-something, and when he dies, the stock's going to plummet. So maybe you want to diversify, and you want to have other holdings. Maybe you want to buy a pair of Air Jordans. So you got to think of stocks as like buying sneakers. You may want a different thing for a different outfit. You want to avoid that scuff. So think of stocks as you're collecting properties that you want to hold for the long term. So volatility is the friend of the investor. But some of you talking to a dear person yesterday, they were pushing 80. And they said, Josh, I just don't like the market. I have more than enough money to be okay. And I want principal protection. If that's you, call us. 888-988-JOSH. If you have a lot of duds in your portfolio, what are we looking for right now in stocks? I'm going to share that with you when we return. This is Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback. Don't touch that dial.
Tune in to the financial quarterback Josh Jelinski of the Jelinski Advisory Group this weekend and learn how to protect your financial future during these turbulent times. Looking to lower your taxes or need help securing your financial future?
Everyone to
then
the room.
Josh
You're,
and his team are the people
Josh
for you.
Jelinski,
They're
the
experts in
Financial
financial
Club,
economics with
and
one
we're
mission in
currently in a
mind:
break. We're live on
protect
the
you
radio.
and your
Have a
investments.
question?
From
Please
their
raise your hand. We'll bring
27-point
you up to
checklist
date.
to their one-of-a-kind
Thank you.
financial quarterback approach, they help you achieve financial health and guide you through the hard times of high inflation, looming recessions, and stock market meltdown. For financial security, call them now, 888-988-5674, and get your free copy of Josh's book, The Retirement Reality Check.
Tune in to the financial quarterback Josh Jelinski this weekend and learn how to protect your financial future in a down economy. Josh and his team at the Jelinski Advisory Group can help you lower your taxes and lower your risk in these uncertain times with a 27-point checklist designed to improve your financial health. Whether you're worried about runaway prices, fear of an upcoming recession, or a stock market meltdown, tune in to the financial quarterback and count on Josh Jelinski to call the play. For a free copy of Josh's book, The Retirement Reality Check, call 888-988-5674. That's 888-988-5674. Or visit Jelinski.org. That's JALINSKI.org.
Hey, we're back taking your calls on all matters financial. And tomorrow, you don't want to miss our exciting interview with Tom Wheelwright. You may say I've heard of Tom Wheelwright before. You don't want to miss this. We're talking about his book, The Win-Win Wealth Strategy. 7 ways that the government will pay you back in the form of tax relief. I'll give you that book if you schedule your 45-minute 7 ways to save on taxes review at 888-988-JOSH. So we're going to go to our callers. If you have a question, now is the time to ask any financial question you might have. We're going to go to the phone lines. We got Ty, Richard, and first, Gordon. Go ahead, Gordon.
Yes, Josh. Good morning. I recently heard the show where you had the guest Ken Grunwald, the demographer, and I've heard previous shows where you had Harry Dent on your show. I'd like to know, as far as you know, are there any demographers who think that a country such as ours or other countries can become too crowded, or is it always a fact that as far as population goes, the more the merrier? If a country keeps adding population, that's almost always a good thing.
Well, most demographers like babies because that's what they study, demography. So I don't think I've ever met a demographer expert who basically, I don't think I've ever met a demographer who said they don't want more babies. I will tell you that the U.S., there's talk, okay, make all the illegal immigrants legal. I think we need to tax them. So where is the tax base if they are low-skilled, low-wage labor? That would be my critique. And I wish I asked him that again. I think he said something like, well, in 30 or 50 years, they'll advance and then they'll end up paying taxes. So it's good long term. I believe that's what his response was. But that's my worry, that you have, more people collecting. So what I would do is I would abolish the income tax if I was president. I do not think the government should take any of your pay at all. And I think I would abolish all income tax, all payroll tax, and I would replace it with a consumption tax. So that way it would affect those who can spend more. They would pay a national sales tax, and that sales tax would go to fund things. And then you would have use taxes for roads, for bridges, for tolls. Here's where I just read a report that $4.2 billion have already been spent on a California rail system. Have you heard about that? The train system?
The San Francisco to Los Angeles thing?
Yeah, so they haven't even built it, and they've already spent $4.2 billion. I think if you had to pay $100 a ticket, and I have no problem with use taxes. So if it costs $100 for every traveler who's driving, think about it, who's driving right now? Amazon. Are you really driving much, Jim? No. Driving here and back. Here and back. So who is using the roads and bridges? Amazon. Mm-hmm. So our tax dollars are subsidizing Amazon. Mm-hmm. So they might pay a $100 bridge fee. And so you would pay the tax on the thing you're using. So for example, if your kids use the public school system, you would pay a public school tax. If your kids don't use the public school tax, you wouldn't pay that. Then you would care about your kids' teachers more. You would have more parental involvement. So I would replace everything with a use tax or national sales tax. I would abolish the income tax. And that would solve the problem of what do we do with illegal immigrants, because they would then pay use taxes. Mm-hmm. So if there are 20 of them going in a job on a truck, I'm using a stereotype, which may or may not be true, but I have landscapers, and I'm sure they use immigrants. They're the hardest working people I know, mm-hmm. and they do contribute to the country. So I'm not anti-immigrant or xenophobic. I think we need to be a country of immigrants, but it's how are we going to tax them? Mm-hmm. And what would happen is if 100 of them, let's say a landscaper piles 10 into a truck and they use a bridge, and you might, pay a higher toll for toll roads. Think of like toll roads, you know what I mean? You're only paying it if you're using it. But you wouldn't have then the Interstate Highway Commission, which barely keeps up, and they have some political hack who's paid $250,000. Like, do you really need the toll booth clerk getting $100,000 a year as a pension? No, it's dumb, right, Jim? Mm-hmm. And I think in the past, unions were very well organized, so they controlled the vote. I don't think that's going to happen anymore, because you're going to have a lot of class. See, it's funny. Socialist economic policies become unhinged from within. That's why people are so negative on the world. Now, other than the Bible coming true, which could be happening, wars, rumors of wars, pestilence, all of those things. People get very dour visions of the future. I have a hopeful vision of the future because communism fails wherever it is tried. So think about this. Look at our dear state of New Jersey, right? We love our public school teachers. I have many dear clients, friends. I married a public school teacher. But you know what? They asked for a little too much over years, so that now the average population feels a sense of class warfare against them. Meaning, I don't mind a teacher getting paid 80 grand a year. They should. I don't mind a teacher getting 87 grand in a salary with benefits, with summers off, with nights off to be home with their kids. That's great. That's a good perk. And I don't mind them a pension either. But a lot of other people do mind the pension because they go, I'm not getting paid 80 grand a year or 50 grand a year when I'm retired with free medical benefits. So that's what Chris Christie, if you remember, he would do these town halls. And I'd be like, why is he picking on the teachers? Well, I guess he got the numbers that the class warfare thing was working for him rather than against him. If you go back just 4 years prior to Chris Christie's election, there was Brett Schindler. Brett Schindler got ran out of town because he talked about pension reform. Chris Christie was reelected. So some of that was due to Sandy, but he would go around the town halls. I don't think the teachers are the enemy. I think teachers should be paid well. Maybe, and administrators do a tough job, but do we really need 500 school districts in New Jersey? With each with a superintendent that makes 200 grand a year? No. And 150 grand in pensions? Now, I love what you do, teachers. I love what you do, superintendents. But if we went to a use tax, then you would actually be paid what you're worth because more people would be mindful of where their dollars are going. So I hope that helps. Folks, give us a call. If you have a question, raise your hand. We're here for you now. We got to take our final break of the hour. We'll be back with more of your questions. And we're live for another hour, so stay tuned. This is Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback. Don't touch that dial.
Maybe it seems like prices can't get much higher, or that the stock market is headed for bear territory, or maybe you're worried about another great recession. Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback, can help you protect your family's financial future in times like these. Tune in this weekend to the financial quarterback to hear how Josh and his team can help you decrease your tax liability and lower your risk. Call 888-988-5674 to take advantage of Josh's 27-point plan to achieve financial health.
Stand by.
And when you call, you'll receive a free copy of Josh's book, Retirement Reality Check. Tune in every weekend to the financial quarterback and call 888-988-5674 to receive your free copy of Retirement Reality Check.
We're back. This is Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback, taking your calls. 800-321-0710 if you have questions on stocks, bonds, annuities, mutual funds. We would love to hear from you. If you have any financial questions, come on up and ask. So we're talking next about the economy and whatever financial questions you have. So raise your hand on Clubhouse, type a question in the chat box. We're here for you. Next thing we're going to talk about is a Qcd. A lot of you tithe, you give to your favorite church or shul, congregation, whatever it is that you love to give. Consider the gift of a Qcd. A Qcd is a way for you to move funds out of your IRA to qualifying charities, income tax free. If you were thinking this might be a good strategy for you, I'm going to give 4 Qcd rules that may surprise you. You must be 70 and a half or older. So IRA owners who are 70 and a half and over are eligible to do a Qcd. Sounds easy, right? This is more complicated than it might sound. A Qcd is only allowed if the distribution is made on or after the date you actually attain age 70 and a half. It is not enough that you will attain that age later in the year. QCDs are not limited to IRA owners, but if you are an IRA beneficiary, let's say you got a stretch IRA from your mom or dad who recently passed, you may also do a QCD. All the same rules apply, including the requirement that you must be age 70 and a half or older at the time the QCD is done. Not all retirement account funds are available for QCDs. You may take a QCD from your traditional IRAs or your Roth IRAs. QCDs are also permitted from a SEP and Simple IRA that are not ongoing. A SEP and Simple plan is ongoing if an employer contribution is made for the plan year ending or within the calendar year in which the charitable contribution is made. Another thing that you might want to consider if you are single, we're helping a lot of couples right now. They are not fortunate enough to have children. So have you considered a charitable remainder unit trust? That's where you gift highly appreciated assets. Could be Bitcoin, could be stock. You put that in a trust, you get a massive tax write-off, and then you use that tax write-off to do a Roth conversion, and you can convert dollars from pre-tax to tax-free, and you get a massive tax write-off in the process. That is called the give strategy. So we're taking all of your questions. If you have a question on stocks, bonds, annuities, charitable strategies, and the like. A lot of you are, maybe you have children, maybe you don't have children, maybe you have some charitable intent. A charitable remainder unit trust is a great way to give and to receive a blessing in return. You're not doing it for the blessing, but as an indirect benefit, you get a tax deduction or a write-off that then you can use to offset against income from a Roth conversion. So there are a lot of idiots right now on social media who are saying 401ks are a bad thing. You know what? I like a 401k. I actually do what's called a defined benefit pension or cash balance. You could do a solo 401k. You could do a profit sharing plan. You could get write-offs of 60 grand, 20 grand, 100 grand. Lower your taxes. You could grow that money tax-free until you're 72. And when you pull your money out, you could pull it out tax-free if you do some of these charitable plannings. So if you give to a church or synagogue or shul or charity, consider a QCD. Consider a charitable remainder unit trust. A lot of you with no kids or no heirs, maybe you have kids, but you'd rather the money go to charity. You can actually get a great write-off for doing what you're already going to do anyway. Some of you have charities pledged in your will. If you do it in a trust, it's even better. So give us a call. 888-988-JOSH. 888-988-5674.
5.
We will be back with some technical analysis. And a surprising bit of good news came this week out of Citigroup. I'll tell you what that is when we return.
WOR and WAXQ HD2 New York, an iHeart radio station. Available everywhere on our free iHeartRadio app. Number 1 for music, radio, and podcasts.
There's no one more connected on the radio. That's why he's Mr. New York. Mark Simone, weekdays 10 to noon on the Voice of New York. 710 WOR.
An iHeart radio station.
76 degrees at 10 o'clock. Good morning. I'm Paul DeCastro. Cops are still searching for the suspect who stabbed the security guard in the neck inside a Chase Bank on the Upper East Side yesterday.
Police say it happened in the Chase Bank on East 86th Street prior to the bank opening at 9 a.m. When a customer arrived early, he was told the bank was not yet open. When the bank opened, the customer went to the teller and attempted to conduct business. He reportedly was not happy with the service and became belligerent. The 59-year-old private security guard was attempting to escort the unruly customer from the branch when he was stabbed in the neck. The attacker is described as a Hispanic man with a white shirt and long curly hair. He fled on foot westbound on East 86th Street. Aaron Real, WOR News.
A victim in a 40-year-old New Jersey cold case is being identified, and an arrest has been made in the case. Authorities say the victim in the 1982 homicide is 17-year-old Dawn Olenek of West Babylon, Long Island. They say Arthur Kinlaw, who already is in prison for another killing, was charged with her murder. Olenek was dubbed Princess Doe after her remains were found 40 years ago at a cemetery in Blairstown near the Pennsylvania border. New Jersey is launching its new suicide hotline today.
Those experiencing a mental health crisis will be able to call 988 for immediate help.
988 allows us to do is to begin to develop a mobile healthcare unit, mental health care unit throughout the state, which will help individuals in their communities, keep people out of hospitals and the criminal justice system.
Assembly Speaker Craig Coughlin says the network will give residents universal access to dozens of local independent crisis centers. They'll provide on-the-spot guidance and direct callers to further care. Natalie Migliori, WOR News.
Well, former President Donald Trump is postponing a rally in Arizona out of respect for his ex-wife Ivana. He announced online that today's rally will be postponed until July 22nd after Ivana Trump passed away suddenly on Thursday. She accidentally fell down the stairs of her Upper East Side
What are the
apartment.
4 ways to get out of debt?
Trump called her a wonderful and amazing woman who loved her 3 children. In sports, the Red Sox beat the Yankees in extra innings. Mets and Cubs rained out. They'll play a doubleheader today.
Here's your WOR Weather Channel forecast. Could see some stray showers and storms going up to the upper 70s to mid 80s. Early clouds tonight, and then scattered showers and
Folks,
thunderstorms
can you hear
coming in
me
late
on
overnight low
Clubhouse?
to mid 70s. As we
Type
get into
yes in the
Sunday,
chat box.
we
Yes, sir,
have got the intervals.
Everybody
of clouds
share
and
the
sunshine early
room.
on. Maybe
if
a
you're
stray
sick
shower,
of
thunderstorm, mid to
spammers
upper
and
80s,
people
and those
trying to
scattered
sell
thunderstorms
you
are possible for
real
Monday.
estate
I'm
courses on
meteorologist
Clubhouse,
Jeff
we get
Start
to
your day
ask,
with Len Berman and Michael
you get
Riddle
to
in the
ask
morning,
any
6 till 10
financial
Monday.
question.
I'm Paul DeCastro on
And
710
we're live over
WOR
New York
and NBC
Radio.
News radio station.
Tired of losing money in the stock market roller coaster? Frustrated with the government taxing you into oblivion? Worried about inflation? How do you prepare for so many financial uncertainties? Welcome to the show that will help you develop your game plan. The Financial Quarterback with Josh Jelinski. Josh is a noted financial advisor and president of the Jelinski Advisory Group, and he's here to answer your questions. Call into the show at 800-321-0710. 800-321-0710. Now, let's kick off your financial future. Here's Josh Jelinski.
You know, I'm livid. It's very tragic. I didn't know that Ivana Trump died due to falling downstairs. I had no idea. I don't know if I was climbing under a rock. I try to, I guess, avoid watching the news now because it's depressing. But was this just found out? Yeah. Oh my goodness. Financial tip of the day. We have a lot of seniors who listen to the program. Do not buy a house with stairs. And if you're in a house with stairs, sell it immediately and buy a ranch. Let Ivana's warning be for you. You know, I had a client one time. The gentleman was 84. He fell off stairs while trying to change the light bulb, and his life was never the same again. My mother rode a bus because she was too cheap to get a cab or something, and she fell off the bus, broke a bunch of vertebrae. Her life was never the same again. Part of your financial life should be not being so cheap that you can't hire someone to do routine tasks that may jeopardize you. Some people never recover from falls. Now you might say, well, Josh, that is not a financial tip. Yes, it is, because so many of you spend your wealth on your health. So avoid the stairs. In fact, I recently did a TikTok about this very subject. Like, when was it, Ben? 2 days ago, 3 days ago? It had nothing to do with Ivana Trump. And I said, you know what? Buy a Stairmaster. Buy a treadmill if you want to work out. All these people saying, oh, I'm going to use the stairs. Then they slip, they fall, and they die. Or people say, I'm going to clean the gutters out. You know what? If you're too cheap to do that, if you're struggling financially, do things yourself. That's perfectly reasonable. But I know people are listening to me they have $500,000 saved for retirement, and they live below their means, generally speaking, if there is a physical thing that's going to hurt you. Now, yeah, hey, if you want exercise, you know what? Push the lawnmower. But avoid the wood chipper. I had another friend. My friends are unfortunate. I just have a lot of friends. Well, don't laugh at this. Why are they laughing? No, it's a nervous laughter. Jim, are you less than human? Come on. No, it's a wood chipper. No, I had a guy, he got his hands hurt in a wood chipper.
Really?
Dear friend of mine. His hands were never the same. And here's the point. Don't be cheap. Another guy cut off his leg working on a wood saw. Be careful, Ben. Because what it is, Ben, tell me what, your friends have lost pieces of their finger. You know, you might like to tinker. You may be so cheap, I can make my own bookcase. You know what? I don't know about you. I want to live to 100. So I'm not making my own bookcases, okay? If you're too cheap, buy a bookcase on Target. They have a glut of supplies. So I'm going to give you some good news in the world of finance. Good news, bit number one, Citigroup had a great week. Their stock, I'm going to do some technical analysis on their stock. Just as a note of caution, we own it for some clients, so I'm not telling that anyone buy or sell, but I saw a bit of good news, a little bullish trend. Saw a bullish trend in Tesla this week. Another bullish trend, we have a glut of things in the warehouses. Have you been seeing this, Jim?
I heard about Target, yes.
What about Home Depot? You have a contact that works at Home Depot? Are they saying that, or do they have a glut of supplies yet?
No, but I know
Are people
Target.
done painting their homes? Yeah. Watch Home Depot. Here's why. When people started painting their homes in April of 2020, that was a sign that the market was going to rebound. When people stop going to Home Depot, maybe that's a sign we're in a true recession. So folks, type your question in the chat box. Share this room. Next up, we have your questions at 800-321-0710. If you have questions, now is the time to chime in. We are going to go to some technical analysis. I don't know why these trend lines are here, partially because things are dumb, but this Dell screen is dumb. So look at this trend line. Now, to be frank, I didn't do anything perfect with this trend line. The trend is still down. We are still in a bear market, but note the bullish diagonal. Our low of June 2017 was 3666. Coincidence? I think not. No, I'm kidding. It is, I brought this up a few weeks ago. But, note people, don't be dippy. I meet a lot of people, they are prey to people like Jim Baker and other people selling various, fear tactics. A lot of people, but watch this. June 16th, 3666, 3785, the low of this week, 3790. If we hold above the 3790 at the next dip, that's a very bullish sign, but still we are in a downtrend. Still we're in is this a bear market? Is this one of these 20% corrections that occurred in December of 2018? Nobody knows. Stan, our resident technician, thinks we're going to hit a low somewhere around early October, end of September. I'm a little bit more bullish. I actually see a bullish diagonal here from June 2016 to there. Generally, the trend is down. What I'm going to show you next is some good news on Citigroup. Citigroup this week, up 13% yesterday, so it had a good day. If you look at the year-to-date chart, not very good, but we're beating back the lows of 44. It hit a low of $44 July 14th. rebounded. Basically we had one good day, so we'll see. But could this be forming a bottom? Look at Tesla. If we look at Tesla and the NASDAQ. Now, if we look at Tesla this week, could it be forming a bottom? The 1 month chart is more bullish. Hit the low June 16th. We've not seen that low since, and the trend is definitely up. Now, note to listeners, and for full disclosure, we own it for some clients, so we're not recommending you buy it or sell it. Could go down even worse. Also, this is funny, kind of hit that 666 range. If Tesla breaks 666, I'd be worried. Has nothing to do with the satanic number described in the Bible as 666. Just apparently is a coincidence of numerology. So, a lot of comical people saying random things. And there could be a lot of dead cat bouncing. You're absolutely right. There's a comment in the chat box. Yeah, we could have a bear market. We could have another 20% dip. I saw something the other day. Here's the financial tip. If you're not comfortable seeing things go down 10 or 20%, maybe you shouldn't be holding something for 10 or 20 minutes. It's an adaptation of the old Warren Buffett quote. But I will tell you, the fear-mongers never usually win. That's a financial tip. Fear-mongering never turns out to be a good financial strategy. Why? We say this time is different, we sell everything, and then the market climbs. Do you remember how scary March of 2009 was? I was there. I remember every time Barack Obama opened his mouth, from January of 2009 to March of 2009, the market kept going down. So much so that Rush Limbaugh did a funny parody to the song, "Don't Let Me Down, 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 Down." And it was a great edit. We got to get that somewhere and play it. But every time he opened his mouth, the market went down. So you know what? President Obama listened. We're not seeing that with President Biden yet. President Obama just said, I'm going to let the market do its thing. He became a cheerleader for the economy. He actually took Rush Limbaugh's advice. He became a cheerleader for the economy. And boom, the market had an epic run. And if you listen to all of the reasons not to invest, the pigs, Portugal, Iceland, Ireland, Greece, Spain, remember the pigs? Do you remember the double dip recession that never occurred? That newsletter writers like those at newsletter writer companies that shall remain nameless, you got to realize what sells. Sex sells on daytime TV. What sells in money? Fear and greed. Not boring old financial advice. Not build an emergency fund. I remember I was in a Bitcoin room and I told people they should have 1 to 3 years of cash to weather out what's coming. This was when Bitcoin was 60,000. I didn't know Bitcoin would fall to 20,000, but I'm for hodling. I'm for hodling stocks. I'm for hodling Bitcoin. Why? Because timing is often a futile endeavor because no one can time the tops and bottoms perfectly. Now, if you're following TA, which we do have I have a technical analyst that works for me, chief market strategist. Why do we do that? We want to look at ways that are high probability from a risk return standpoint to maybe not lose as much capital. So, and for every person who says it's a dead cat bounce, they could be wrong, right? Why are they saying dead cat bounce? Because they believe fundamentally it's bearish. They're letting their bearish bias color things. If truth be told, I'm probably very bearish myself. I could see the S&P go down to 3450. I could see it go down to 3,000. But your life shouldn't be based on that. Meaning, do you have sufficient amounts in cash, in things that are guaranteed from do you have treasuries? Do you have fixed annuities? Do you have insurance contracts? to protect your family should you die or get disabled. That's why the show is called The Financial Quarterback. Then your wide receiver is your Bitcoin. It's your stock play. That is your long haul hodling assets to fight inflation. But if you give up on Bitcoin, if you give up on stocks, if you give up on risk-based assets, you will generally lose the game of wealth to the enemy of inflation. So there's things that protect you from deflation. There are things that protect you from inflation. And I think deflation is probably coming. There is a glut of products right now. Barges have been unloaded. Container ships have been unloaded for the first time in years. I said for a long time, I thought Biden should be using the National Guard to unload those container ships. I offered to help him for free and be a member of his. I'm still here to serve both Democrats and Republicans. I will be on the member of the President's Board of Economic Advisors. Trump never asked me, even though I know he listened to the show because he listened to New York radio. People told me various things that made me indicate he listened. Maybe Biden wants help pulling us out of the economic malaise that we're in. I'm here to help. So give us a call, 888-988-JOSH. A comment says the recession is already here. Come on. Holding cash now makes no sense. You're losing time value month over month at 9.1%. Well, I think holding cash is a good asset. Cash is an asset class. In a downturn, so let's say you bought Bitcoin in November when it was 60,000 and now it's 20,000. If you held on to cash, you could now be purchasing 3 Bitcoin for the purchase of 1. What you're saying is idiotic and makes no sense. Comment in the chat box. So it's great to be in your 20s. Buy, over 50. You got to realize also, there is a lot of people who are fear mongers on YouTube, on Clubhouse, on all of these things. Because it's clickbaity. It's sexy to be the fear monger. Oh, run for your lives. But you know what? You have a family to care about. So cash gives you optionality. So and I bet you the person who's saying they don't have cash has north of 100 grand of cash in the bank for emergencies. So to say cash, in fact, every wealthy person I know has lots and lots of cash right now for opportunities. And, I'm not anti-Bitcoin. I'm pro-Bitcoin. I'm pro-wise financial planning. Having disability insurance. My dad bought the lie of the 90s to cash everything out, put it in your 401k, do index funds, and then he got disabled and he lost everything because he didn't have disability insurance. Because nobody talked about disability insurance. So what's the problem with having disability insurance? What's the problem with having 1 year of emergency fund in the bank? You know what? I don't think we have rampant inflation, number one. I think we have it now, but we go out a year from now. Jim, what are you going to buy in the next year? Jim's a regular guy. I love Jim. Jim's like the everyday man.
Food.
What are you going to buy in the next year?
Food.
Are you going to buy any pools?
No.
Are you going to buy pool furniture?
No.
Are you going to buy Pottery Barn furniture? Are you going to buy a TV?
No.
Did you buy anything on Prime Day? No, he said food. Why? He's everyday man. He's like, I can barely fill up my grocery cart at Costco. So that's everybody right now. They bought their TV with their COVID bucks. They bought their used car. When did you buy your car, Jim? About a year or two ago, before everybody else did. Great time to buy. See, Jim's every man. So here's my point. A year from now, prices will be depressed, in my view. I do not see an inflation a year from now. Do I see inflation now? Yes. Do I see our inflation number will run high? Why? Because everybody's broke. I know people, they've done surveys, right? That people making, 100 to 200 grand a year are feeling more broke than they've ever felt in their lives. You go to Costco, how much does it cost to go to Costco now? $500 every time you go? Go to the grocery store, it's $100 and you get like a gallon of milk and some things. Yeah, that's inflation. But what that means is people are going to be using money on those goods and other things are going to come down in a year or two. So I totally get that inflation is here, but price inflation is not the same thing as monetary inflation. And people are not lending. There's a lot of reasons that I think a deflation is around the corner, or disinflation. Maybe a year from now, maybe 18 months. If I'm betting, probably 2023. So folks, we'll be back with your questions at 800-321-0710. This is Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback. Don't touch that dial.
Maybe it seems like prices can't get much higher, or that the stock market is headed for bear territory. Or maybe you're worried about another great recession.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Josh
We'll go with Ty and
Jelinski, the
Richard.
financial quarterback, can help you protect your family's financial future in times like
I
these.
agree, real estate
Tune
is
in this weekend to the
hard
financial
crashing.
quarterback
That
to
would be
hear
a
how
sign of
Josh and his
deflation.
team can help
Would it
you
not?
decrease your tax liability
Anyway.
and lower your risk. Call 888-988-5674 to take advantage of Josh's 27-point plan to achieve financial health. And when you call, you'll receive a free copy of Josh's book, Retirement Reality Check. Tune in every weekend to the Financial Quarterback and call 888-988-5674 to receive your free copy of Retirement Reality Check.
Tune in to the financial quarterback, Josh Jelinski of the Jelinski Advisory Group this weekend and learn how to protect your financial future during these turbulent times. Looking to lower your taxes or need help securing your financial future? Then Josh and his team are the people for you. They're experts in financial economics with one mission in mind: to protect you and your investments. From their 27-point checklist to their one-of-a-kind financial quarterback approach, they help you achieve financial health and guide you through the hard times of high inflation, looming recessions, and stock market meltdown. For financial security, call them now, 888-988-5674, and get your free copy of Josh's book, The Retirement Reality Check.
Okay, we're back. Ty has a question, then Richard, and then we're taking your calls at 800-321-0710. Go ahead, Ty. Go ahead, Ty.
What's good? What's good, man? Nah, man, I was just going to ask you, based off of the data that we got this past week from the reports and the numbers that came out, what is your stance point a little bit, since you did say you pro Bitcoin now? Now I gotta hear it. Okay. What do you think would keep Bitcoin up, if anything can keep Bitcoin up at this price as we're going into this markets and the change in mindset of the investor?
I think Bitcoin is a superior monetary technology due to its fixed amount. And I look at Bitcoin as a 5 to 10 year hold, not a speculation on trading. I think people who think they can day trade Bitcoin or trade Bitcoin, it's just like trading the market. Now, could things go lower? Sure. If we have the SPX at 3,000, Bitcoin's going to be significantly cut. But I do believe Bitcoin has shown enormous price resiliency at the 20,000 mark. That's actually a bullish case. In previous bear markets, dropped 90%. What would 90% drop on 65,000 put us at? So not where we are today. But again, I think that's the wrong outlook when dealing with someone's money. I don't know what your specific circumstances. I don't know how much you have. I believe Bitcoin is a long-term buy and hold asset. I think it will be the future of money as more people get out of central banks. They want to opt out of the system. I think we will still have a central banking system. I just think more and more people will see its value, like I did years ago, and bought into the concept. I don't believe in altcoins and any of that stuff. I think they're scammy and tend to avoid them. Okay, next up we have Jason. Go ahead. You're on with Josh Jelinsky, the financial quarterback. Go ahead. You had a question? Who is it? Or Simon?
Yeah, thank you for having me. My question is this: since we're on the cryptocurrency side, from my understanding, Bitcoin is now created like a commodity for strategy. If a token or a coin is created specifically for a region, do you think that to transact among their people, do you think that would be considered a currency and like not a commodity or security?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not an attorney, and I don't really. I think Chairman Gensler of the SEC has said that basically everything else is a security other than Bitcoin so far. So I think Bitcoin's the one ring to rule them all. I think I think we're where Amazon was in the early 2000s. When people think of retail, they think of Amazon now. And Bitcoin will be, completely dominant, but that's just me. But because it's a superior technology, it's non-centralized, all of the reasons. But, it's not, I'm not opining on, I don't really know anything about altcoins. I tend to avoid them. So I really am not an expert in altcoins or any of those things. I like Bitcoin. Keep it simple, right? You just got to keep things simple. People tend to complicate things. Why do they tend to complicate things? Scammers tend to complicate things because they want you to believe that they know something that you don't, typically. And that's why they charge you a high fee for this and that or that. So next up we have Bob. You're on with Josh Jelinsky, the financial quarterback, with a comment on repurchase of treasuries. Also, give us a call right now, 800-321-0710. You get to ask me any financial question you have. Go ahead. You're on.
Josh, good morning. My basic question is, and I have a follow-up, is the status of the repurchase of the Treasury debt, which I understand is approximately $9 billion, and they still haven't unfolded any real process to the best of my knowledge. And I was wondering if that was your understanding as well.
Well, I think we have a failure. We're going to have a liquidity crisis. The question is it this year or is it next year? And that will cause problems with the Treasury, the debt repurchasing, banks, all of that stuff. I don't know the current state of the repurchase of Treasury debt. I haven't looked into it. I think the Fed's going to have to buy Treasuries, and they may start repurchasing things either next year or in the next few months because of how things.
They were supposed to start selling them, Josh.
Yeah, I know. I just don't think it'll happen.
You don't think it will happen?
Well, they may sell them, but what I'm saying is, long term, I believe we're at very. So let's say you're a senior living on a fixed income.
Check.
And you're looking at annuities or Treasury rates. I think we're at some of the best rates that will be in your lifetime. Because I think rates can't go much higher or else the system will crash. That commenter who said, and I think all the Fed is looking for is that inflation number to break, something where they can get political cover because the Fed is turned into a political institution. So, the emperor has no clothes, but basically they want you to believe they do. Does that make sense?
Yes, Josh, always. The second question, Josh, is on the status of the IRA mandatory age to start taking your money out. 72 is the last legislation that was passed.
Yes.
Are you aware of anything that's coming down the pike?
Oh, that's a great, yeah. What is the update? There is talk about extending the required minimum age from 72 to 75. Now you might say, I'm 35 and I'm listening. Why does that matter to you? Because your biggest asset, there have been more middle-class millionaires created by the 401k than any other. A lot of people on social media are now bad-mouthing the 401k. Now, I would badmouth the 401k if you have no exit strategy, meaning how are you going to extract money out of your 401k, out of your pension on a tax-favored basis. But more middle-class millionaires have been created by tax-deferred savings vehicles than any other vehicle in the history of Earth, probably second only to long-term hodlers of real estate. And in the last 10 years, people who bought Bitcoin and just, didn't do anything with it. So, or people who just bought stocks in the 80s and just have held on to it forever. People who bought stocks in 2009 and held on. So as it relates to RMD news, we will be the first to update you. You know me, I know that's probably one of my strongest areas of expertise is IRA taxation. Yeah, by the way, folks, if you have IRA taxation questions, call us. But they are talking about deferring the age from 72 to 75. So what do you do if you're 72? Wait until November or December to take your RMD, okay? Right. That's my tip. Because if I was a betting person, the Republicans win Congress, they try to pass some bipartisan reconciliation act in late December. Now, Jim works with our clients last week of the year, and it's crazy. So the risk of you waiting till last minute is you don't get your stuff in time and you get screwed. And there could be a 50% penalty if you don't take your RMD. So you may want to take your RMD by December 15th. That way it gives you 15 days to... When would you say they should do it by, Jim? That's December 15th. Yeah. Does that give you enough time? Yeah. And we'll help you. We work with Fidelity, Schwab, all kinds of great institutions to help you. We're independent fiduciaries. We never hold your money. We never have custody of client accounts. And give us a call, 888-988-JOSH. We can help you, Bob. Okay, we got to take a next break. Then we'll be back with more of your questions at 800-321-0710. If you want to get on live New York Radio right now, call us, 800-321-0710. I'm the last man standing on live financial radio. I just found out that one of my dear competitors was cut from 2 hours to 1 hour on New York radio. I feel sad. But you know what? We're still with you, giving you 2 live hours every Saturday morning. This is Josh Jelinsky, the financial quarterback. Don't touch that dial.
Tune in to the financial quarterback Josh Jelinsky this weekend and learn how to protect your financial future in a down economy. Back. Josh and his team at the Jelinsky Advisory Group can help you lower your taxes and lower your risk in these uncertain times with a 27-point checklist designed to improve your financial health. Whether you're worried about runaway prices, fear of an upcoming recession, or a stock market meltdown, tune in to the financial quarterback and count on Josh Jelinsky to call the play. For a free copy of Josh's book, The Retirement Reality Check, call 888-988-5674. That's 888-988-5674. Or visit Jelinsky.org. That's JALINSKI.org.
Hey, everybody. Go to the YouTube right now and subscribe. Josh Jelinsky, the financial quarterback. Subscribe to my podcast. I just love live local radio. So we're here. We're taking your calls at 800-321-0710. You could need help clipping coupons. You could want to know, Josh, should I buy an I-bond? That was like a question we had 100 times. Yes. The answer is yes. I-bonds are 9% right now. They're epic opportunities. Josh, should I buy crypto? Should I buy some new cryptocurrency? My nephew is pushing. No. Avoid altcoins like the plague. Thomas Petterfee has said some interesting things. I don't know if they're ignorant or not, because Thomas Petterfee is the president of Interactive Brokers, the billionaire founder. I'll tell you what, Thomas Petterfee is a smart guy. He knew things at such a granular level. So anyway, so we have accounts at Interactive Brokers if you want it, if you like it. We also, Schwab, Fidelity, of course. I get somebody today, they said, Josh, I'm having a hard time trusting people. Well, you don't have to trust us. Trust but verify. Of course, we want you to trust your advisor, but one key way to make sure you trust your advisor is make sure your advisor doesn't handle your funds. So we never hold on to your money. We use an outside, reputable, third-party custodian. If you're really worried, you could always have a trustee, could use an attorney, but then you got to realize that. So next, we have Jake. Okay, I hope this question isn't a joke, but I found it might be good entertainment. Go ahead, Jake. Jake, you're on.
Lost all my stuff in storage, right?
Okay.
And I lost my paperwork for my annuity. How do I at least get a hold to, the information replacing of my annuity, the paperwork?
Well, which company is it? Okay, well, I'm not going to promote companies without them being paid sponsors of the show. So let's say you were with Acme Insurance Company. Have you called Acme's 800 number?
No, I have no information.
Okay, so you don't even know the company that you've had your annuity with?
No.
Why do you not?
I had a bad lawyer, crooked lawyer. I handled my malpractice suit down in Florida.
Well, do you know where?
Anyway, I had to get out of Florida right away.
Wow.
It's a long story.
Well, it sounds like you need some help. I don't really, if you don't know the name of the annuity company, do you know the name of the attorney where you could then hire an attorney? It sounds like you need an attorney to try to do some research. You could also go to the website missingmoney.com and check to see if you are missing money. Jim, have you checked the Missing Money website?
No.
You haven't?
Not yet.
Haven't I been talking about this for months? Yeah. Go to missingmoney.com, okay, Jake? Type in your name, go to your state's unclaimed property website, and it sounds like you need a good attorney and a bit of good luck. Sounds like you're kind of down on your luck.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry for what you're going through. And my recommendation, get a good attorney, okay?
Well, I need help with that too.
Yeah, so...
I can't find. I call them.
Yeah, but it sounds like you have no money,
do
though. So that's the problem. No attorney's going to want to deal with you if you have no money. So
Right.
maybe you got to find some attorney who will do it as a favor or something. We had a comment in the chat that was by Joe that says cash, and I want to thank you for the call, Jake. We're taking more of your calls at 800-321-0710. So someone said there are two possibilities. A new low before a rally or a previous low is the bottom. Yeah, I mean, there's many possibilities. That's the thing about the future. I think there could be probably 15 different scenarios. That's why I like cash, because it can give you sanity and protect your optionality. Joe, who's an attorney, do you want to speak on that, Joe, or do you not want to come up on stage? He said, ask for your local pro bono section of the Bar Association. So where do you live? Do you have money to afford internet? No? Okay, well, wherever you're from, call the local Bar Association and ask for the pro bono attorneys. But if that's the nice thing here, that's a good tip, actually. If you're getting some type of lawsuit and your attorney is your trustee, make sure it is held by an outside third-party custodian and you have what's called a trust protector on your trustee. That way, if your trustee is suing you, you could remove the trustee. So a lot of you have trusts, but do you have a trust protector? A lot of you don't. We've had a lot of issues over the years where people have had trusts set up. I'm going to give you a couple tips on trusts. One, consider setting up a trust. They're a great way to protect your money from in-laws, outlaws, creditors, and predators. If you die and you leave your $500,000 estate, paid off house, so you have a paid off house and $100,000 in your name, and you leave that to your 2 children, do you know that's their money? So they could lose that in a lawsuit. Say they hit someone in a car accident and they don't have enough insurance and that person dies from complications. You think they're only going to settle for 15 or 30 grand when their attorney sees that they're worth $500,000? Fat chance. What's a life worth? It's priceless. It's why you need insurance. That's why you need trusts. It's why you need a good attorney. It's why you need a good financial advisor. You know, in this era of do-it-yourself investing, I'm all for low-cost indexing, for low-cost ETFs, for a diversified approach. But when are you going to raise cash? When are you going to sell some things? When are you going to add more to this asset class or that asset class? To blindly put your money into something could be a real problem. So if you have a question right now, come up to the chat box. We'll answer any and every financial question you have. So raise your hand if you're on Clubhouse. We would love to talk to you. You get to ask any and every financial question you have. Next up, we have Eleanor with a question on everybody's mind. Go ahead, Eleanor.
Okay, I want to know how safe are annuities if you're 84 years old?
By safe, what do you mean, and what type of annuities?
Well, I don't know nothing. I don't know anything about.
You don't know anything about anything.
Right.
I love your honesty. So, do you have an annuity that you're worried about? Or are you looking at purchasing an annuity?
I'm looking at purchasing an annuity.
Number one, if you want principal protection, if that's what you mean by safe, consider a fixed or fixed indexed annuity from an A-rated company or higher. The higher the rating, the higher the credit quality of the bonds that that insurance company is holding. Many insurance companies outlasted the Great Recession of 2008. They outlasted the Great Depression of the 30s because they are well capitalized and have what's called legal reserve status, meaning when you have $1 with them, they have to keep $1 in reserve so that if they go under, they can't declare bankruptcy. They get taken over by the state and they get, it's like a liquidation. And typically another insurance company will buy them out. So if you're really into getting a highly rated company, you can get an A+ rated company or higher. If you want to limit the amount that you put in, many states, such as New York, has what's called the State Guarantee Association. Now, a State Guarantee Association should never be used as an inducement to buy an annuity, but that makes some people feel better that there are protections in place. So if it is a fixed or fixed indexed annuity, 3 ways to protect yourself. Number 1, pick a highly rated carrier. Number 2, you can look up the solvency ratio. Number 3, you could look up their surplus. Number 4, you can limit the amount you put in. So as long as it's fixed or fixed indexed, your principal should be protected from a stock market loss. I hope that helps you.
Yeah, and how do you find a highly rated company?
Well, we have an annuity shopping service. We also have an index fund shopping service for people who like low-cost investing, where we will show you the different strategies and products that would fit for you. We shop all of the annuity carriers in the country based on your prerequisite. So let's say you're in your 80s and you want to buy an annuity that's friendly to somebody who's 80, one that's fully liquid upon death, maybe fully liquid if you go into a nursing home, past your heirs, bypassing probate, one that allows you 10% penalty free. There's a lot of different stipulations. And then we have a quote engine where you could then see your top 3 choices given your age and unique objectives. So call us at 888-988-JOSH and we'll help you with that, 888-988-5674. Any other questions, Eleanor?
No, that's it.
Wonderful, Eleanor. Thank you so much, and we'd be happy to help you. Give us a call, 888-988-JOSH. We'll be back after these messages.
Tune in to the financial quarterback Josh Jelinski of the Jelinski Advisory Group this weekend and learn how to protect your financial future during these turbulent times. Looking to lower your taxes or need help securing your financial future? Then Josh and his team are the people for you. They're experts in financial economics with one mission in mind, to protect you and your investments. From their 27-point checklist to their one-of-a-kind financial quarterback approach, they help you achieve financial health and guide you through the hard times of high inflation, looming recessions, and stock market meltdown. For financial security, call them now, 888-988-5674, and get your free copy of Josh's book, The Retirement Reality Check.
Maybe it seems like prices can't get much higher.
30 back,
or that
30.
the stock market is headed for bear territory. Or maybe you're worried about another great recession. Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback, can help you protect your family's financial future in times like these. Tune in this weekend to the financial quarterback to hear how Josh and his team can help you decrease your tax liability and lower your risk. Call 888-988-5674 to take advantage of
Folks
Josh's
on Clubhouse, if you have a
27-point plan to
question, now
achieve
is the
financial
time
health. And when you call,
to
you'll
ask
receive
it.
a free
We
copy
have
of Josh's book,
about
Retirement
15
Reality
minutes
Check.
left
Tune in every
in the
weekend to the
show.
financial quarterback and call 888-988-5674 to receive your free copy of Retirement Reality Check.
Okay, this is Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback. We have room for a few more questions. Eleanor's question's a good one. Think about, Eleanor's 83. Imagine she put all of her money in cryptocurrency or Bitcoin in November of last year. She'd be freaking out. She's 83. That's why financial planning makes sense based on your age and objectives. But even if you're 33, if you have a cash stash of 1 to 3 years in the bank, you can hodl. You can acquire assets that you believe will be a good long-term probability, like good quality dividend-paying stocks, growth stocks in companies that you believe will be around for 10 years, Bitcoin. So when I structure a portfolio, the best portfolio that you can live with Bitcoin, stocks, whatever, is the one you don't vomit out if the market goes down. So think about that. If you took all of your money and you put it in Bitcoin, November of 2021, what would you do now? You're probably divorced, and your wife may have kicked you out of the house because you were financially irresponsible. Some people, for some reason, think financial planners are very expensive. A good one is generally going to cost you around 1 to 1.25% as a fee of what you invest with them. And a good one is also not going to charge you commissions. So you can have commission-free trading. They're going to put you in ETFs that are low cost. They're going to put you in stocks that have high cash moats for uncertain times like this. They're going to have you have a cash or emergency fund of a minimum of 6 to 12 months before you even invest or are allowed to invest. That's what we could do for you. Now, if you haven't saved a 6-month emergency fund, call us. Next up, we have James. Go ahead. You're on with Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback. We got James. Let's bring James up. Where is he? I don't know. James, you can come on up. We'd love to talk to you with your financial questions. Okay, we got some new chart work, courtesy of Stan the Man. So go ahead, James.
Yeah, my question is most for seniors. Should seniors focus on buying more securities in the stock market or ETFs, or should they focus mostly with physical assets, such as real estate, gold, silver, or other financial instruments? What's your opinion?
Well, gold and silver should be relegated to no more than 10% of one's assets. And silver has not provided any hedge this year. It's actually down. Gold has provided a little bit of a hedge in a portfolio. Actually, probably think they're good, buys potentially right now. Technically, they're low, but they could break down further. But for a senior, you need to focus on income, meaning you should have enough income in conservative assets, bonds, annuities, insurance contracts, and then the balance could be in dividend-paying stocks, ETFs. A lot of people think because they get older, they should have money out of the stock market. Au contraire, my dear. You got to plan for a 20 to 30-year retirement, but you also got to live and not panic out your portfolio. So my general rule is invest your monthly nut. So if you need $5,000 a month to live, that $5,000 a month should be from guaranteed sources of income. Pensions, if you don't have a pension, buy an annuity. Social Security, and there are no fee annuities you can buy too. So there are high fee annuities out there that I wouldn't put my worst enemy in. And then there are very low cost ones. And then the balance, that's what can go into stocks, Bitcoin, real estate, things like that. As people age, they generally don't want to be landlords. So most people over 65 tend to want to get out of the landlord business. That's usually a younger person's game. But I do have a lot of clients with multiple millions of dollars in real estate holdings, and they use their real estate like an annuity. So does that help, James, or do you have a follow-up question?
That helped. Thank you, sir.
The big thing is to have your monthly nut. If you need $10,000 a month to live, have that in what are called covered assets. Those are assets that are not going to go down should the market go down. That would not be gold or silver. That would be cash, treasuries, AA, AAA corporate bonds, insurance, fixed insurance contracts, things like that. And if you know somebody, if you have a parent who's getting worried about this, have them give us a call at 888-988-JOSH. Next up, we have Jerry, who has a question, and we will hold Jerry's question till the end. If you have another question, give us a call. 888-988-JOSH for the 7 ways to save on taxes review. And we'll throw in the 3 ways to save in turbulent times review. But first, we'll go to Jerry's question. Go ahead, Jerry.
Okay, good morning. I have a IRA annuity. It's a fixed annuity. It's getting 3% guaranteed. Doesn't go any lower than that. And I get the required minimum distribution every year. That's all I take out. It's only about $200,000. But I was thinking about if an index annuity is applicable to me.
It could be.
Like rolling it over?
What is your objective for the money?
Get more income. Yeah, get more income.
Would the indexed annuity provide, are you looking at a particular one? Would it provide greater income? So there's 2 ways you can look at this. One is you have a fixed,
right now.
There's 2 ways you can look at this. There's 2 ways you can look at this. One is if you have a fixed annuity that's out of a surrender charge paying you 3%, you could keep enough in there to use that fixed annuity like a bank account. If your annuity is out of surrender, let's say you have $100,000 in cash doing nothing, right? And the cash is giving you 0.01 at the bank. You could keep 100 in that fixed annuity at 3%, take money that's earning nothing in the bank, put that into an annuity with a payout. Depending on your age, payouts could be 5%, 6% without annuitizing. You never want to annuitize an annuity. That's called annuicide. That's where you surrender the rights of your principal to those at the insurance company. So when you die, the money goes to the insurance company. That's called annuitized annuity. You generally want to avoid those. But there are annuities that pay out really good payouts right now because rates are higher, like 5%, 6%. And you could leave your money to your heirs. But I want to be careful. When someone says the payout is 5 or 6, that's different than an interest rate. So let's say you have $200,000, your interest rate's 3%. So that means your principal's earning $6,000 every year. In an index annuity, it could earn 0, it could earn 12 because it's indexed to the market. So right now, S&P annuities with a cap, highest cap that I'm seeing right now is about 9%. So if the S&P goes up 10%, you would make 9. Those don't have any dividends, but 9% is not bad as a cap. If the S&P goes up only 4, you make only 4. If it goes down 10, you get a 0 instead of a 3. So that's the one negative in indexed versus a fixed. Now, some indexed annuities will have a fixed rate, and some will also have an income rider. So if you put 200 grand in, they might pay you $1,000 a month for the rest of your life, even if you live to your 119. So it depends on your objectives. It could be right for you. And I would call us at 888-988-JOSH, and we could see if one's right for you. Any other questions on that? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just saying, for me to do like a rollover from that annuity to a different kind in my category right now, being 75, having to take that required minimum distribution out every year, is it feasible for me to do that?
You can do. Return. Yeah, you could do a 1035 exchange, which is a tax-free exchange. If it's non-qualified assets, you could do an IRA custodial transfer form if it's an IRA. And you just want to make sure the annuity is called an RMD-friendly annuity, which means it will allow you to take out your RMD without a fee.
Perfect.
So I hope
that I needed to know. I didn't know there was such a thing.
Yeah, there are. And we could shop around, see if it's a good deal for you. 888-988-JOSH. 888-988-5674. 888-988-JOSH. We're going to continue the conversation on YouTube and Clubhouse. Folks, if you want the 3 ways to save in these turbulent times, review Call Me for My Bear Market Survival Guide at 888-988-JOSH.
15.
888-988-JOSH. We will do some other questions at 888-988-JOSH. For those of you who have questions, 888-988-JOSH, you get the free review when you schedule and keep your no obligation review.
The preceding program was sponsored by the Jelinsky Advisory Group. Any awards, rankings, or recognition by unaffiliated third parties or publications, including 5-Star Wealth Manager, Advisory of the Year finalist by Senior Market Advisor, and top of the $1 Million Roundtable, are in no way indicative of the advisor's future performance or any individual client's investment success. No award, ranking, or recognition should be construed as a current or past endorsement of Josh Jelinsky or Wealth Quarterback LLC. Information regarding specific awards, rankings, or recognitions is available on the Wealth Quarterback website at jelinsky.org. All investment strategies have the potential for profit or loss. Investment strategies such as asset allocation, diversification, or rebalancing do not assure or guarantee better performance and cannot eliminate the risk of investment losses. There are no guarantees that a portfolio employing these or any other strategy will outperform a portfolio that does not engage in such strategies. This broadcast should not be construed by any client or prospective client as a solicitation to effect or attempt to effect transactions in securities or the rendering of personalized investment advice. Due to various factors, including changing market conditions, the information discussed in this broadcast may no longer be reflective of current positions or recommendations. While information presented is believed to be factual and up to date, Josh Jelinsky and Wealth Quarterback do not guarantee its accuracy, and it should not be regarded as a complete analysis of the subjects discussed.
They are live,
the tax and estate planning
uncensored,
information
no BS
discussed
calls.
is general in nature,
I'm
is
not,
provided for informational purposes
various
only,
people
and should not
trying
be
to sell
construed as
you
legal
some
or tax
negative
advice. Listeners should
11X
consult an
course
attorney or tax
on
professional
real
regarding their
estate.
specific legal or tax
Obviously,
situation.
I'm a financial
Investment
advisor
advisory
for a
services
living,
offered through Wealth Quarterback
but
LLC.
we're here to give value.
WOR and
Which is, I think, the beauty
WAXQ-HD2
of
New York,
Clubhouse,
an iHeart
right?
radio station.
A
Available
lot of
everywhere on
scammers
our
on
free
here
iHeartRadio app.
trying to
Number
get your
1 for
money.
music,
We're just
radio, and
giving you
podcasts.
Local,
free,
national, international. He's on top of the stories that matter to you.
You have a question,
John
type it in
Batchelor,
the chat
weeknights
box.
from 9 till midnight on 710 WOR, the
Share the
voice of
room.
New York.
An
Subscribe
iHeart
to my
radio
Club
station.
Financial Quarterback.
77
We
degrees
generally
at
do
11
shows
o'clock. Good
every
morning. I'm Paul
Friday.
DeCastro. You are
Some
out of luck if you were hoping
Thursdays,
to get
this
one of the
Friday we will not
thousands
be
of
doing a
monkeypox
show
vaccination appointments made
because
available
it is,
yesterday by the New York City Department of
special day
Health.
for me.
The latest round of
And then
9,200 slots that were made
Saturday,
available
next
starting
Saturday,
at
9
6
to
p.m.
11,
Friday
we'll
went
be live
fast,
again.
very fast. We
And
filled up
next
the appointments due
Sunday,
within
9 to
10
10
minutes of
will
going
be
live online. The Big Apple has
We may
become the
do a
epicenter
live
of the outbreak
YouTube
in the
show,
U.S. The CDC says New York City has
next Thursday
25%
night
of America's
around
monkeypox
5. That's when we
cases,
might
but
do
Governor
the
Kathy
interview
Hochul notes
for the
the
weekend,
Fed's
guys.
vaccine distribution
Okay,
system.
next up we have someone named the 3 commas. Go ahead. Bring her on up. Amy wants to come on up. Okay. Now we have, so we have somebody has a question on called the Great Repression. But first, so now we're going to talk about, I don't know if you want to do a new YouTube and just title it. Do you know how to do that, Jim? No. Okay, so is the 60-40 portfolio dead? That's a great question. We're going to answer that next. But first, we're going to go to Amy. Go ahead, Amy. You're on.
I have a question. My daughter just graduated and she is starting a new job in September. I want to advise her the right way to allocate her money in investment side. What would be a good advice for her? She's 21, I think, right now.
Sure. Number one, have her call my office at 888-988-JOSH, and I don't care if she has any money. We'll have her speak to one of our licensed fiduciaries, okay, to put her on a great track. Rule of thumb would be to save, to max out her 401k. But while she's young, I don't know if she has the money to do that, put as much as she humanly can in the Roth 401k. That way the money grows tax-free and can be pulled out tax-free. 3-4 things that young people should consider that they don't, because it's usually is number one, max out your Roth 401k. Number two, max out a Roth IRA. Number three, buy term insurance. That's convertible to whole. You might say she has no life, she has no kids, she has no spouse. Yes, but she may down the road. And then the fourth tip that people kind of overlook is disability insurance. Hopefully she lives a long life with no disability. But insurance is so cheap in your early 20s, and generally it's a part of any plan that I do when people are in their 30s, that literally for a fraction of the cost, because the risk is so low to the insurance company, she can have 2/3 of her pay protected no matter what happens to her. So max out the Roth IRA, max out the Roth 401k, buy term insurance equal to 20 times her salary, and get disability insurance equal to 2/3 her pay. It's very cheap at her age. So those are the 4 things I would consider. Now, in terms of an asset allocation play, we would look at her funds and tell her, should she do an S&P fund? Should she do 60% in an S&P fund and 40% in a fixed account? Things like that. Does that make sense, Amy?
Yes, I do have a question.
Sure.
What is a self-directed IRA?
A self-directed IRA is an IRA that she controls, as opposed to an employer-directed, where when you have a 401k, there's only 10 fund choices or 20 different choices, and some of them are lame. With a self-directed IRA, you could have up to 5,000 different fund choices. So a self-directed Roth IRA may be right for her, or a self-directed regular, depending on her income. And folks, on Clubhouse, I'm giving away a book when you schedule and keep your no obligation review. So you can call me right now at 888-988-JOSH for that review. What other follow-up questions do you have, Amy?
Okay, thank you so much.
Awesome. Next, we're going to Nancy Pelosi. Go ahead, Nancy. Great Repression.
Why, thank you. I have a ton of questions, but I'm going to focus on just 2 simple ones.
Sure.
And I'm thinking of one of my buddies. I was able to convince him to not plop in a lump sum into the market at the very top, because there was a lot of reasons not to do that. And he just kept looking at the steady growth of the stock market, and he was not valuing the risk appropriately of the potential valuations. But going forward, I don't want him to miss out on allocating funds he's a young guy, so he's got a lot of time ahead of him. What would be a good strategy to dollar cost back in over time? Like, is there any guidance or any rule so that he doesn't have to make emotional decisions about it? Is there a percentage? He basically has half his portfolio in cash, half in stocks, but he'd eventually like to be more invested over time.
Well, what some people are doing right now, because they're worried about the market, is they take
Hey, Josh, you're muted.
Sure, sorry. What some people are doing right now is they're taking 1/6 of the cash and plowing it in each and every month for the next 6 months. That way, things are, stocks are on sale right now. Doesn't mean they can't get cheaper, though, in the next few months either. So to take 1/6 every month for the next 6 months probably might be a good way to do dollar cost averaging. The second thing is wait till we hit, a certain threshold on the S&P, like 3,500, 3,450, 3,000. The problem is, what if we never get there, right? So that's why the dollar cost averaging approach works. The other thing you may want to consider is, how old is he? I mean, it depends on your age, but if he's, 30, it may not matter as much as if he's 60.
He's in his low 30s.
Okay. So, I mean, you won't go wrong by dollar cost averaging in 1/6 for each of the next 6 months, 1/4 for each of the next 4 months. What I would look at doing, though, and this is where index funds are going to lag, right? And we're seeing that already. There are significant stocks that are highly well capitalized and have good cash moats that I think will fare better if this is a 2007 to 2009 type bear market. So you may want to be dollar cost averaging into those types of stocks, not necessarily mindlessly into indexes or ETFs, unless those ETFs are being managed. So I would take an active approach. The other thing you could look at too is some people just don't want risk. So the 60-40 portfolio, I think, is dead and would be very much better if you took 60%, plowed it into stocks, 5% cash, 5%, gold, silver, Bitcoin. Then you take the other 30% and you plow that into something like an annuity that will pay a pension, because a lot of people don't have pensions, right? So you'll have a pension type income stream when you're retired, or an insurance contract that will also pay out tax-free income when you retire. So that's another adaptation. That way, at least 30 to 40% is always protected. And then you wait till there's some epic bottom to plow that in. I hope that helps. Any other questions?
Thank you for addressing the 60-40 portion. I just have one last question.
Yeah, I don't like the 60-40 portfolio anymore. I mean, I don't mind 40% being conservative. I don't mind it being conservative, but I'd rather being in like an annuity that pays an income guarantee that doesn't go down if bonds go down, or an insurance, cash value insurance contract that pays a dividend. I just think you'll do better over time than plowing it into bonds. Next question.
The last question is for that 5% cash you're talking about. Where is the yields are kind of up, so, but there's lots of choices of twos, like medium duration, even 1 year is paying like almost 3% at one point. Where are you recommending, or where should someone be looking to get some yield or more liquid, shorter term stuff?
Well, you can get 3-year annuities right now paying, I don't know, I saw 3.8% right now. You could get 2-year treasuries paying 3-ish right now. Could buy 18-month CDs paying 2.5 right now. So There's a lot of great options. I think it's the golden age for fixed interest rate investing right now in the last, certainly since, the last 12 to 15 years. Because we don't know. I mean, what if the Fed stops hiking rates and then reverses course in a month or two because we have SPX at 34.50? Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, next up, we're taking more of your questions. Anybody have any questions coming up? I will leave the room in 3 minutes if we don't get another question. And it's okay if there isn't. I want to thank you all for joining us. I'm Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback. Hit the green Monopoly house on the top right. Follow my financial club. Hit the bell so that anytime I do a room, you can come in. Like, share the club with your friends. Follow me. Follow all the moderators. Jennifer pretty much helps me on every room. She's a genius and wonderful person. So follow her. Follow Amy, Jason. They've been with us. Great repression. Many of you came on to support my radio show, which is called The Financial Quarterback. You can subscribe on Spotify to my show, as well as Apple podcasts. We are live on one of the biggest stations. We were live on one of the biggest stations in the country, WOR710AM in New York. Now we're live on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button. Okay, so thanks for everything.
Josh.
Yeah, go ahead.
One quick question. Please repeat to everybody about the Robert Kiyosaki's interview that with his account with tax attorney or tax preparer.
Oh yeah, this guy is Robert Kiyosaki's personal accountant. His name is Tom Wheelwright. He wrote a book called The Win-Win Wealth Strategies. I'll be giving that book away for those who schedule and keep a no obligation review at 888-988-JOSH. That is 7 ways the government will pay you money. So if you're sick of higher taxes, and he's actually a guy that I've hired, his firm, and they've helped me with some things. So it's an amazing interview. That will be live sometime this week on podcasts. It will be live on New York radio tomorrow at 9 a.m., but then we will probably post it somewhere Monday morning, Sunday, so you have to subscribe. And this is sometimes where you got to follow me, because that guy, he charges $100,000 for tax consulting. And he gives away a lot of his advice for free. Now, he always does stuff, so you can't really do whatever without him. So, but you will at least learn a structure. And he gave good tips on solar, on retirement planning, on insurance, on energy, on agriculture. So if you watch the Yellowstone, anybody watch Yellowstone here?
Love Yellowstone.
So if you want to buy a farm with all of your profits as a tech person, Jennifer, in working in biosciences and all that stuff, well, he was telling us how we could get tax write-offs for owning a farm, doing conservation easements, all of these various things. That was pure gold, by the way. Oh, you know what? It's live on YouTube now. I think is that live on YouTube? The Tom Wheelwright interview? Can somebody check that? You can post it on the link and hit subscribe. Now, I'm not the most, tech savvy person, and my tech guy is straight out of, the year 1990. So some of our tech stuff isn't as modern, but I will tell you, my guests are really good. My content's the best. And we give nice, no BS financial tips. So if you do Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback, it says 2 months ago, Josh interviews Tom Wheelwright. Yesterday, Tom Wheelwright's new book, the win-win wealth strategy. We have to have Ben. Maybe Ben can do titles that are sexier. 7 ways to save taxes or something. So Ben, you're going to be in charge of that. So you have to do, but it just put Tom Wheelwright's new book. So change the title to Tom Wheelwright. The win, it's a little better than normal, but he's awesome. And he gave like very valuable information. And I'm not lying. If you want his even people to help you, it's like 30 grand. And he's not even attainable by most people. And he's getting, millionaires and billionaires hire him to save on taxes. Sherilyn just said, that's why Bill Gates purchases a ton of farmland. Yeah. I mean, it's going to be a crisis for democracy. But basically, Bill Gates doesn't pay tax because he just buys farmland and puts conservation easements on them. Hey, I would too. You can't beat him, join him. Now, the phone number, Sherilyn says this. What is my phone number? 888-988-JOSH. That's 888-988-JOSH. You get the free book when you schedule and keep your no obligation review. It's called The Win-Win Wealth Strategy. So call us now, 888-988-JOSH, 888-988-5674. But again, hey, if you're not using me, that's cool. Just buy his book. Go to Amazon. And I'm a share bear. Like the Care Bears, there was my favorite bear was the lion-hearted thing. But I'm really like a share bear because I like to share financial education to our listeners. So I want to thank you all for joining us. Be sure to follow the club, follow me, and David is there right now at 888-988-JOSH to take your questions. That number again, 888-988-5674. I want to thank you all for joining us. Make it a great day.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great weekend.
Bye now.